I was supposed to call Jesse Ventura this morning because he was ready to talk about his federal court case from Friday to get him set up for the show today or tomorrow, and I didn't call him. So as soon as the show ends here in a moment, even before I do RT, I'm telling my crew to remind me to call Ventura. But he's about to leave town again, so I don't know if he'll be on tomorrow now because I didn't call him. Also, we're going to get Jim Mars on this week to talk about this whole Knights Templar connection. It's still operating in England. We're also going to get Alan Watt, a lot of other folks on to break down, because this terror attack, just like Oklahoma City, signifies a shift in the war on terror, a shift in geopolitical actions. They're going to still kill the Muslims, invade them, all that, but now the police state they've set up and sold the public that was just going to be for Muslims is going to be shifted on to the general public. So we've got Paul Watson there riding shotgun with us. Webster Tarpley, always a great asset. Incredible historical understanding and depth and breadth. He's no hat and all cattle, as we say here in Texas, where a lot of folks are all hat and no cattle. Again, I'm Alex Jones of Infowars.com. Thank you for joining us. Let's go to Renee in South Carolina. Questions or comments for Paul Watson, myself, or Webster Tarpley?
Yes, I wanted to just say what an honor and a privilege it is to speak with both of you. Thank you for taking my call. Webster kind of stole my thunder. I was wondering myself, what makes people think that this guy even wrote this manifesto? That's what was on my mind.
Well, they made all the fake WMD documents. They just, all the time the Associated Press says, Al-Qaeda says they did this or did that, and they'll say at the bottom of the article, from a unconfirmed forum. Well, you can go on forums and read that I am an 18 trillion-year-old reptoid lizard from Pop-Tart who drinks blood. And actually, they're on to me. It's true. But, the point is that, how do you prove that? Webster, are you a reptoid?
We have some reports that Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, is going to go after Breivik with a civil suit for plagiarism for violating his copyright on the Unabomber manifesto.
Webster, are you on to me that I'm a reptoid Vatican assassin?
The word is out.
No, it's like Alex Jones, CIA. There's the proof. No, but seriously, they can't even confirm this is his manifesto. So it's not that I'm defending Israel here, that this guy, isn't a Zionist. The point is, how do we know any of it's true?
Most of it is not true. In other words, most of it is invented out of whole cloth, or as close to that as it's physically possible to get. And it will change. And what I'm waiting for is, we always have these cases, right? Oswald, of course, was a devoted communist, except he was working for the CIA operations directorate and the U.S. Customs and God knows what. And when they sent him to the Soviets, and then they tried to get him into Cuba, they wanted to sheep dip him to try to be able to pin what he would later do on the Soviets. And that's a process that took quite a while, right? That took some years to get that ready. Atta was, of course, a pious Muslim, but in fact, he would go to the discotheque, he would drink all kinds of gin.
Yeah, but that's not he had a hooker girlfriend. But that's not the proof is Atta was allowed into the U.S. under his visa that he was really working for the CIA. He was working at U.S. military bases.
Exactly.
Their houses were paid.
He was going home. He thought he was going to be an actor in a drill, and then he'd be back in the discotheque in the evening.
But he found out that wasn't the case. Renee, thank you so much for the comments. Aaron in Nevada, you're on the air with Watson and Tarpley.
Okay, thank you. GoNub.com here. I've been on this subject from when you were talking about the bioweapons, and I've been covering it up on my website. I have a post. It has two teenage boys from the island with a Boycott Israel banner holding it up. It's like a 6-foot long banner. And I want to read from my post. The Palestinians must have their own state. The occupation must end. The wall must be demolished. And it must happen now, said the foreign minister, to cheers from the audience. The foreign minister, Jonas Gahar Store. So that's what this is all really about. This is Zionism, and that Pashenik discredited himself. That was the biggest piece of CIA disinfo. Once CIA, always CIA. And if he was really anti-CIA, he would have had an accident by now. All right, that's all I have to say on that. And I'd like to say overall, though, Alex, I agree with you on the knock-on effect, taking the rights away and everything, justifying it by this. But please know, this is all about Zionism, Jewish supremacy, Rothschild banking cartel. That's the nexus of this thing, in my opinion.
All right, Aaron, I appreciate your call. We've got to move on to the other callers.
Alex, let me just say, that is relevant up to a point, but the question is, why now? In other words, the pro-Palestinian, pro-Arab orientation of the Norwegian government goes back to 93, 94. Now, we are approaching this vote, right? There is a certain, point of inflection coming up. It seems to me, though, the big issue is the Libyan bombing coalition. Because this is.
Why would Israel, though, carry this out and then tattle on themselves in the manifesto?
Because I think it's NATO intelligence. In other words, I think that the Israeli concerns are subsumed into the policies of what NATO intelligence is doing. And I think we pretty well identified a network in the Norwegian police, which is basically set up by the U.S. And again, if it's 10% of the bombing and it's leading to the collapse of the coalition, this is an emergency.
No. You're right. So
it's not based on ideology. It's based on power and control.
Sure.
And I think the Libya is the immediate focus.
It is a coup threat. It is a coup demonstration. It's like Governor Tarkin blowing up Alderaan to scare the other space systems.
Let me add, the other thing is WikiLeaks, right? The ground had been prepared by WikiLeaks in the sense that WikiLeaks had put out a whole bunch of U.S. diplomatic cables saying the Norwegian government is incompetent. They're in way over their heads. They can't take terrorism seriously. They don't understand what's going on.
Well, no, that's Gates at the well now he's left.
WikiLeaks. So we've got a prefabricated, ready-made to order, off-the-shelf reason to say, right, you Norwegian government, you're incompetent. You must fall because you allowed in the WikiLeaks. There's even bomb-making equipment was lost by the Norwegian police under this government. So they have a perfect way to say this government must fall because they have created the conditions.
Yeah, they've infiltrated the police. They've got the network set up a year ago. They launched the attacks. I have to totally agree with you. Paul Watson, any comments on this?
Well, I mean, just study the behavior of this guy. According to eyewitnesses, he's walking around with this serene look on his face as he's massacring scores of young people. The people who worked with him, who knew him personally, said they thought he was brainwashed. And then you've got the fact that he lives on this farm, which is right next to the elite military special forces complex in Norway. His father was in Norwegian special forces. And then you have the eyewitness reports, which the media has largely ignored, of gunshots being heard from 2 different parts of the island, and, quote, a man with dark hair in civilian clothes being seen firing another weapon. So classic Sirhan style patsy with the brainwashing, with the serene look on his face, the calm demeanor. I mean, it all has a familiar echo to it.
Watson, good job. We need a report going over that because people probably don't know that the L.A. detectives said at the time Sirhan had his hand pinned to the table. None of the bullets hit Kennedy. Kennedy was shot from behind repeatedly with the caliber. We even know now who pulled the trigger. 3 CIA agents in the speech beforehand, photographed. This is all in the news. People forget Sirhan is now confirmed. Yes, the woman in the dress, I'd already been under mind control. She gave me a drink of the halcyon chemicals, put him in the trance. I mean, this is ridiculous. And we now see the building of this guy up to this Superman, hoping that he will encourage real dislocated whites to now become violent instead of becoming political. I mean, this whole thing, clash of civilizations, then the government plays the part of the referee. What's your take on that, Watson?
Well, certainly. I mean, I've read numerous comments in support of his actions. There are Facebook fan pages that have already been set up in support of what he did. So undoubtedly, they're looking for copycats. And if they get them, then it's going to destroy the whole wave of European conservatism that's been peeling back this EU SSR agenda because the Conservatives have been very successful in recent years. I mean, the True Finn Party, and that, again...
No. This is a psychic warhead. I want you to finish your point. This is a psychic warhead, a poison dart fired in to nationalists who understand the global banking cartel. The left is not opposing the New World Order. They're not opposing the Anglo-American elite. They're not opposing the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. They're not talking about eugenics. They love it. It's only what you'll call populist right-wing that is getting Hispanics, blacks, Arabs, everybody together. This show, what we do, common sense populism, opposing the banksters is the end of the New World Order, is cyanide to them. And so they are going to infect our movements with racism and Illuminati garbage and bombs and killing, so they can hammer the daylights out of us with the security services that are behind the terrorism. There is no doubt about that. Paul, finish your Finn Party article.
Well, I mean, it's in CNN right now. Europe's resurgent far-right focuses on immigration multiculturalism, and they're lumping it all on the True Finns. They're lumping it on Geert Wilders, the Dutch politician who's been very successful, his Party for Freedom recently. So, yeah, the Conservatives in Europe were having a lot of success, and now they're all on the back foot because of the actions of this individual, and the establishment in Europe is going to push it. Just like Oklahoma City, we'll continue to watch PrisonPlanet.com, Infowars.com for your updates and reports. We'll continue to interview Webster Tarpley here. Tarpley, thank you for joining us. We are out of time. We're going to rejoin retransmission now on the audio streams. We'll archive the last 3 hours and 45 minutes of video at prisonplanet.tv. It's uploaded every day. A higher quality podcast, all at prisonplanet.tv. Thank you all for your support. Continue to help spread the word. We told you this was coming. The globalists are desperate. They had to do this. It is manufactured. There's no doubt, but we did show some other perspectives today. Great job, crew. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.